I'm Claire O'Neill, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you why restaurants, bars, and retail stores are all seeing an increase in their number of customers next.
With public health restrictions being lifted, we can expect to see some more people at the bars soon, and they might overdrink. I'm Zach Hawk, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you about a new facility where they can go to recover.
Does campus carry concern you? It could soon be a reality for West Virginia University students. I'm Elena Degenhart, and our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts right now.
Fewer than 150,000 Americans currently have COVID, and millions receive the vaccine each day. Now, states are beginning to ease restrictions, but is it too much too soon? I'm Zach Hawk.
And I'm Jillian Winoski. With 3 deadly shootings making headlines last week, gun control is a hot topic. But how is it affecting us here in Morgantown?
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
A man in Colorado bought an assault rifle and killed 10 people a week later. This is the 3rd mass shooting in the past 2 weeks, and is sadly only one of more than 600 mass shootings in the past year.
Tragically, that is right, Jillian, and there have been almost 200 shootings on college campuses since 2001. West Virginia's legislature is debating several gun control bills, specifically about whether or not concealed carry should be allowed on college campuses. Our own Elena Degenhart joins us now to tell us more. Elena?
Thanks, Jillian. Zach, many states have been pushing to legalize concealed carry on college campuses since the deadliest campus shooting in U.S. history in 2007 at Virginia Tech. West Virginia might soon be joining a list of 11 states that allow campus carry. I went to campus to find out what students think about the push for guns on the WVU campus. Once again, campus carry is dominating the news and making headlines across the U.S. The West Virginia legislature currently has 4 bills that would authorize concealed carry on campus. Student Government Association President Amaya Jernigan believes campus carry should not be legal.
Personally, I'm not a fan of campus carry just because if all students don't have the opportunity to have a gun or a weapon on them, then I feel like none of us should.
While others believe WVU should follow suit with the 11 states that already have campus carry.
I have pretty mixed thoughts about it, but I think we should have it. I think with the 11 states, most of them are red states, so West Virginia, it's only a matter of time.
In this letter sent to students in the West Virginia Senate, WVU President Gordon Gee expressed his opposition and concern with campus carry. 11 states in the U.S. now allow concealed carry permits on college campuses. So what's the driving force for allowing guns on college campuses? Well, many proponents for campus carry believe that this law will deter mass shootings, but research shows that's not the case. In fact, one study found that campuses that allow guns are more likely to have shootings, homicides, and suicides. WVU Vice President for Strategic Initiatives, Rob Alsop, says the university's focus is keeping everyone safe.
There are several states where there are campus carry laws, and so we have talked to our colleagues in those states about how they've navigated those situations. And our commitment will be to keep the campus as safe as we possibly can, given the policy determination of the legislature.
A campus carry bill came through the West Virginia legislature in 2019, but was stopped in the Senate Judiciary Committee. The bill proposed big debates and student protests at the Capitol. West Virginia is the only state to refile legislation to allow campus carry on college campuses. 7 other states, including New York and South Carolina, have also reintroduced campus carry during their legislative sessions. 16 states prohibit concealed carry, and 23 states permit colleges to make their own rules against concealed carry.
Thanks, Elena. Well, the price of gasoline reached a 4-year low last year, but gas prices have been steadily rising by about 10 cents a month since last May. When lockdown began last March, the demand for gasoline and crude oil plummeted. In April 2020, a gallon of gas was less than $1.75. Now that people are back to work and starting to travel again, prices are nearing $3 a gallon. Experts say that as the economy stabilizes and things return to normal, we can expect gas prices to drop to what they were before the start of the pandemic, but only time will tell when that will be. With gas prices up around 18%, we're still looking at more expensive pump prices in the weeks ahead.
More than 10 million people lost their jobs because of this pandemic, and this month, Governor Jim Justice announced that businesses can open to 100% capacity. And now, restaurants, bars, and small businesses are starting to recover from the losses they took in the last year.
Claire O'Neill joins us now from Studio B at the Media Innovation Center to tell us more about how businesses in Morgantown are adjusting to being open for business, with her segment, Storytelling with Data. Claire?
Jillian, Zach, believe it or not, this time last year we were being asked to stay home and quarantine because of the pandemic. And in West Virginia, it marks 1 full year since we went into lockdown. But a lot can happen in a year. We're no longer staying home with family and pets. And with Governor Jim Justice's recent announcement to open stores and other public gathering areas back up to 100% capacity, we're able to go out and experience life like we once did before COVID hit, but with just a little more caution and some masks involved in the process.
West Virginia Governor Jim Justice announced that restaurants, bars, retail stores, and other gathering areas can now return to a full 100% capacity. But with 50,000 new COVID-19 cases reported per day in the United States, some residents say the Mountain State may be acting too soon on its journey to return to normalcy.
I feel safer if it is not full capacity until we reach a sort of herd immunity.
A lot of people, like especially students, when they go party like during weekends, they don't care at all. Like they go party, they go to bars and without wearing masks.
Coronavirus expert Dr. Anthony Fauci believes that until the U.S. has fewer than 10,000 new daily cases, states shouldn't ease restrictions. However, West Virginia's numbers are lower than most, with a vaccination rate ranked among the highest in the world. And with over 200,000 residents fully vaccinated at a percentage of 14%, Dr. Lisa Costello says she's hopeful for the future.
As we continue to see more people to be vaccinated, that we continue to see better control of the disease, that we will be able to have more businesses open safely and be able to have an improvement in our economy.
So what can we expect West Virginia's 100% capacity to look like? Parking lots that were once desolate are now starting to look like this. Public gatherings have now increased to 100 people instead of under 75.
Though some may not be ready to step back into those larger crowds, others say it's time restrictions be lifted because of the isolation and loneliness that can be caused during the pandemic.
People's got to live. Being locked up, after being like in prison.
I think that society is looking for their relief. You know, they're tired of being confined. They want to be able to move about, interact with people, and get back to normal society.
Justice says wearing a mask and staying socially distant are still mandatory at all locations.
West Virginia is one over 10 states that have opened back to full capacity. The Mountain State has also successfully administered over 700,000 vaccines and recently expanded its vaccine eligibility to all essential workers ages 16 and older. Governor Justice encourages all West Virginians to be vaccinated. You can pre-register by going to vaccinate.wv.gov or by calling the number below. Jillian, Zach, back to you both at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Claire. More than 200,000 businesses closed their doors for good because of this pandemic. This led to 10 million people losing their jobs and business owners going bankrupt. But even with so many people out of work, there are still thousands of businesses that are thriving. Our own Ireland Viscount joins us now to tell us more about how a small business in Morgantown opened during the pandemic and is still standing. Ireland?
Thanks, Zach. According to the West Virginia Association of Councils, over 600 businesses in the state have reported being negatively impacted by COVID-19. But one local business here in Morgantown has not only survived the pandemic, it's thriving.
Small businesses in West Virginia saw a challenge last year when the pandemic started. They were ordered to shut down and didn't know when they could reopen, which made them all worry about how they would keep their doors open. Many businesses like Maryland's of Morgantown actually opened in June, right in the middle of the pandemic. Co-owner John Cellurel explains how there was no right way to open in the middle of the pandemic.
What's the best way to go ahead and open up a business, not open up a business? You're kind of, it's a coin toss. You don't know if you're going to win, you're going to lose, but you give it 100% either way, and you look at it and you say, you know, if we're going to go down, we might as well go down and try instead of going down and not doing anything at all.
After a very long wait this past week, Jim Justice has officially allowed restaurants and bars to open up at 100% capacity. But as you can see behind me, Maryland's and Morgantown is still social distancing their customers to keep them as safe as possible.
Keeping the doors open hasn't been easy, and even though Maryland saw a decrease in sales in the winter months, they continue to host events like Working Women's Wednesday. This is an event hosted by WVU where you can win free giveaways. Morgantown resident Charlotte Rifle explains that she feels safe going out to eat.
My husband and I have been to several restaurants in Morgantown, and we wear our mask. We've done it for months, and we feel perfectly safe. You know, we wash our hands before we go in or use the sanitizer.
This past week, Governor Justice opened up everything at 100%, but the mask mandate is still in place.
If you are a business who is not as fortunate as Maryland's and you're struggling, there are several emergency grants and COVID-19 loans available, including the Paycheck Protection Program. This is a loan designed to provide relief for small businesses to keep their employees. You can apply for this loan and others at www.sba.gov.
Many states are moving closer to lifting all restrictions now that the vaccine rollout is underway, Zach.
And Jillian, we are now seeing most states are dealing with a wide array of approaches to getting kids back into the classroom.
Natalie Bowman joins us now from Studio B at the Media Innovation Center to tell us more. Natalie?
Jillian, Zach, the COVID-19 pandemic made this past year challenging for schools all across America. The virus shut down nearly all school buildings last spring in a historic disruption of education. Schools were forced to shift to virtual learning overnight. But on February 23rd, the West Virginia Board of Education mandated that all elementary and middle schools be open 5 days a week. The board also recommended that high schools provide 5 days of in-person instruction. I visited 2 of these local high schools, and what I observed is that teens and educators are happy to be back in the classroom.
A year ago, schools shut down due to the pandemic. Hallways and stairwells, once bustling with students, were empty. On March 8th, the county's high schools finally reopened. Now that the 9th through 12th graders have returned to in-person learning, the parking lots at Clay Battelle Middle and High School are finally full again.
Everybody's happy to be back. You wouldn't think that students would be happy to be back, but after almost a year out, there's an excitement in the building again from the students. And I've even heard some of our younger students say that, you know, I haven't seen you since last year.
While students in the public school system are settling back into their classroom routine, students at Trinity Christian School have been attending in-person classes since the fall. Director of Student Services Tressa Barnett says their success is largely from their parents.
Our parent support has been great because they're watching their children. Like, we were at a party this weekend, maybe we should stay out Monday. That extra level of caution that they're taking has helped us to be successful.
And keeping kids in school is important because online school can sometimes stunt communication development.
Online class schedules can be difficult for some students, especially those who struggle with self-motivation and time management. Staring at a screen all day isn't good for students' mental health either, as online learning was reported to cause social isolation before the pandemic even started.
With the increase of people in the buildings, schools are keeping students safe by routinely cleaning classrooms and school facilities every day. All students and faculty must complete a COVID screening before entering any building or bus.
Doctors say closed schools are harming young people's mental health because of the social isolation, and it's causing a loss of learning. Experts go on to say if schools were a major cause of COVID-19 spread, closing them could be a worthwhile trade-off. But a trio of new studies demonstrate a low risk of COVID-19 infection and spread in schools. In fact, that number is less than 1% of an infection rate. Back to you in the Waterfront studio.
Thanks, Natalie. Zach, even though schools and businesses are going back to business as usual, Increased isolation and stress from the pandemic has caused some people to turn to substances to self-medicate, like alcohol or drugs.
Unfortunately, that's right, Jillian. And experts say drug and alcohol abuse has gone up this year by 55%. I recently toured a new facility in Morgantown that hopes to help people with substance abuse problems. In a normal year, 1 out of 10 Americans turn to drugs or alcohol to cope with stress, but the pandemic may be pushing this number higher. That's why a regional sobering center is being built. Assistant City Manager Emily Muzzarelli has seen these plans develop over many years.
The goal of the Sobering Center is really just to be a tool for law enforcement or EMS to bring intoxicated individuals instead of sending them to hospitals or jails.
West Virginia already had one of the highest overdose death rates in the country, and overdose deaths have increased by 22% during the pandemic. But this center hopes to identify people and refer them to the treatment they need.
We have medical professionals that will be here that are a lot better at identifying these things, and they have a lot more access to the types of resources that people suffering from addiction can benefit from.
If people come out downtown and have a little bit too much to drink, but didn't necessarily commit a serious crime, police and EMS have the burden of taking them somewhere safe. For now, that means a faraway jail or a hospital, which might not be the best places. This center will ease that burden by offering a safe, local option. Downtown resident Andrew Solomon sees the positives of this facility.
Maybe just take someone who's a little bit more drunk or intoxicated than they should be, have a bed to sleep through the night, and then just get up and go on with their daily lives.
The city's first responders will be glad to have a place to take people to sleep it off. This facility will be possible thanks to $3.5 million of CARES Act funds, financial support from the city and county, and the support of local nonprofits. The city hopes to hire a leadership team for the center this spring and summer and are looking at an opening date in the fall.
People struggling with addiction can find treatment facilities at the link on the bottom of your screen. Well, Zach, coming up after the break, I'll tell you about a dangerous hillside in Westover that has closed this road on and off for years.
And our sports anchor, Eden Douglas, joins us to talk about the baseball team's rocky start.
I'm Jillian Winoski, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll introduce you to one of the residents in the homes you see behind me on River Road, a road that's been closed 3 times in the last decade. I'm Kirsten Lindquist, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you how Bob Huggins is approaching a career milestone that only 5 Division I coaches have ever achieved. Our award-winning WVU News continues next.
When we started our journey, we had no idea where it would lead us. Until we found a place where experiences became a way of life, and connections became unbreakable bonds. For us, it's a second home, and wherever we roam, it will always be a part of us. The place we became mountaineers.
Westover's River Road has closed 3 times in the last decade due to major rock slides. When it last closed in 2018, Division of Highways officials said it would likely shut down permanently, and it would cost at least $6 million to protect the road from future damage.
And even after that road underwent the multi-million-dollar repair, it faced yet another rock slide just last month. I caught up with some Westover residents about why they're concerned for their safety. After less than 2 years of being reopened, River Road in Westover was closed once again due to rock slide damage. The road has faced over 20 slides since 2018, and Lexi Regules says she worries about her family's safety after just missing this recent slide.
I had just drove on the road and came back, and as I was coming back, the road had been closed, and I guess the slide happened as I had just left and everything, so that has been really scary to think about.
The road was closed for over a year after a 2018 slide left the lower portion of the road unusable. Over $2 million went into repairing the road, but Mon County Emergency Management Director James Smith says the road still needs serious repair if it's to maintain the traffic of the area.
The hillside where the slides come down from, that seems to be a much larger issue, to where it's going to take some clearing of the trees and some of the debris on top of the hill.
Dawn Lanham has been sending her children to Skyview Elementary for nearly 15 years, and she said that the road's inconsistencies worry her.
There is a lot of traffic in and out of there, especially with the industrial park. Out there it does take
a lot of big trucks in and out, and the road is starting to cave away on the shoulders of that road, which is now the only road that can go in and out to that area.
Safety officials have said previously that this road was not designed for heavy traffic, and residents believe that this could be a factor in the road's condition.
Poor conditions on River Road are not only a problem for those who use it.
When the road is closed, traffic is pushed back onto DuPont Road, which can up to triple the drive time for those looking to get through Westover. Rerouting traffic has also contributed to the city's accident percentage. Over the last 45 years, Westover had almost twice as many fatal traffic incidents per 100,000 people than West Virginia's average.
The DOH previously asked the Morgantown-Monongalia Metropolitan Planning Organization to add nearly $10 million to repairing River Road over the next few years.
Well, WVU baseball has returned to Monongalia County Ballpark, but just 2 weeks after a successful start, the progress was put on pause.
Sports anchor Eden Douglas is here to tell us why a player decided to have a second senior year at WVU and how he and his team are overcoming adversity.
Thanks, Jillian. Zach, the WVU baseball team and head coach Randy Mazey were looking forward to playing baseball in the 2020 season after having such a successful season in 2019. But due to the pandemic, their 2020 season ended just after 1 month of being on the diamond. In 2019, for only the second time in program history, the Mountaineers hosted an NCAA regional at Monongalia County Ballpark. After losing and not advancing to the next round of the tournament, the soon-to-be seniors thought they were going to have one more opportunity to make program history. I caught up with one of those seniors who decided he still had work to do for a state that has done so much for him.
The WVU baseball team started their 2021 season with the highest preseason ranking in program history. After playing for just 2 weeks and not being in the gold and blue for almost a year, the program was shut down for 7 days due to positive coronavirus cases. Assistant coach Steve Sabin says it did not affect his team's energy.
Our guys, a lot of them got to work and they got to compete and they got to be on the field, and that's better than a lot of programs and a lot of kids. And so we had our obstacles just like anybody in the country has.
Senior third baseman Kevin Brophy was named Collegiate Baseball Player of the Week. He says after the pause, it was an honor to be back at the Monongalia County Ballpark.
It was a lot of fun. I think at first there was a little bit of nervous jitters in the first game. Getting back out there, it almost felt like it was opening day all over again because we had that week off.
Due to the 2020 season being cut short because of COVID-19, the NCAA offered an extra year of eligibility to all spring athletes. Players like Kevin Brophy took that extra year of eligibility because he says he has unfinished business with his team here in Morgantown.
I wanted to come back here and be a part of this team. I felt like the team could be really special, and I still think that, and I still can't wait to get out there and play more consistently now in the upcoming weeks after we get over this little patch.
Brophy says the Mountaineers continue to overcome obstacles thrown their way because they have the right mindset.
We kind of just want to build off of it now, and I think just being a leader personally is what's going to help with that, and staying positive through everything.
The Mountaineers have 5 seniors who hope to lead the rest of the team to another NCAA tournament.
The team has dropped out of the top 25 rankings but are continuing to grow every week. Coach Mazey and Coach Sabin say they are not focusing on their adversities, but only focusing on how to get better every game. The Mountaineers will play at Monongalia County Ballpark throughout the entire baseball season, and 600 fans are allowed in the ballpark to cheer on the Mountaineers. Our men's basketball team was picked as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament this year, making this their 30th tournament bid. And WVU men's basketball head coach Bob Huggins just reached his 900th career win as a coach. Sports anchor Kirsten Lindquist has more on this monumental milestone in Mountaineer and college basketball history.
4 seasons and 100 wins ago, WVU men's basketball head coach Bob Huggins earned his 800th career win. And now during the NCAA tournament, he just earned his 900th. Something only 5 other Division I coaches have ever been able to do. Longtime fans remember his 800th win at home like it was yesterday.
The energy of the 800th win was crazy. That was pre-COVID, so everyone's on the floor, everyone's cheering, everyone's jumping up. It was a great place to be that night.
Everyone was so pumped up. It was so awesome.
For players like Derek Culver, bringing home that 900th win means the world to him.
I feel like it'll be pretty special that I get to be there, with Coach, and get to experience this 900 win. Our little journey started a little earlier before I got to West Virginia, like you said. So I feel like it'd be a pretty good experience.
Bob Huggins' praises extend farther than just the Hall of Traditions. He has led WVU to 11 postseason appearances, including the Big East Championship and the 2010 Final Four, where he clinched the East Regional.
Well, I love those guys, and it's gratifying that they can be a part of it. They enjoy it a lot more than I do, but that's, I think that's pretty neat. I think it's, when they have something to look back on and share with whomever, hopefully it's one of the positive things that happen in their athletic career.
Huggins also says that when you've coached as long as he has, you learn not to take anything for granted. And at the end of the day,
once a nightmare, always a nightmare.
Kirsten Lindquist, WVU Sports, Morgantown.
Thanks for that report, Kirsten. Well, Coach Huggins isn't the only person being recognized for their commitment to WVU athletics. Athletic Director Shane Lyons was recently named one of 4 winners of the 2021 Athletic Director of the Year award. Lyons was up against thousands of athletic directors from around the country. He says he shares this award with all the people who work to make our athletics department strong.
Thanks, Eden, and congrats again to both Coach Bob Huggins and Athletic Director Shane Lyons.
Well, Jillian, in case you needed any more assurance that brighter days are ahead, you just had to visit the Westside Senior Center last week. It was smiles all around when seniors in our community were finally able to get together and play one of their favorite games, bingo. The center closed last year during the pandemic, but now they're finally open with limited activities. Doctors say it's crucial for seniors to resume these types of social gatherings. Many seniors were left feeling isolated and depressed, not being able to interact with their friends. Our own Michael Gresko spoke with some of these seniors who said they're thrilled to be able to see each other again.
Zach, it's just so great to see those seniors finally getting to have some fun after such a crazy and difficult year.
That's for sure, Jillian.
Well, that's all we have for WVU News this week. I'm Jillian Winoski.
And I'm Zach Hawk. You can visit us online at our website. You can also watch all of our shows on YouTube. Please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.